Live from the Export Beer Garden studio, this is the feature length agenda for the 8th of June.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are in temporal space listening to this. It is my pleasure to welcome you into the podcast. I'm joined this morning by Matt Heath and James McConie. Good morning, fellas. How are we?
So good. Love a feature length.
Yeah, the full length.
Yeah, can't wait for the full length. And also, what a way to start. You've given us our certificates for the award-winning Agenda podcast named Best Entertainment Podcast Brackets Episodic at the Radio Awards. And I wasn't there, but thank you very much. Just like to thank the Academy. Matt Heath, Adam Pormana. There was Joe Jury as well, needs a bit of a shout-out. And then, obviously, Manaia coming in late in the piece and singing some piss. Which thank you for that, Manaia.
Oh, look, it's a chore, but someone's got to do it. And I'd just personally like to tell Joe Rogan to suck it because we are the greatest podcast of all time.
Yeah, suck it, Rogan. And it's just interesting, when you hold up all my awards that I got. There's 4 of them, but that was for different things, not just this one. But this one's still important to me that I won this one as well.
Yeah, important to all three of us sitting on here. Not very important to anyone that's listening. I don't think that they particularly.
Well, they already knew. They already knew it was the best, didn't they? Before we.
Well, that's right.
The people that listen to the Agenda podcast, they didn't need some organisation to tell them that.
They don't need this validation. I mean, and neither do I,
from
guys.
The lamestream media.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I may have done a little sneaky post on the old LinkedIn, on the Insta, and a little bit of that, but nothing too OTT, I felt.
No, everyone listening to this, their mothers probably hug them, so they don't need this kind of external validation. But for us three with very fragile egos, we need this kind of stuff.
This is important stuff.
I'm barred up.
Maybe we should hug each other a little bit more. I digress. Let's get on to item number 1. Super Rugby quarterfinals are upon us. What are the chances of an all New Zealand semis, James McConie? It seems pretty foregone, doesn't it?
It does, but as a Chiefs fan, I am programmed not to count my chickens.
Yeah.
You can't get ahead of yourselves down in the Tron.
That would be a real hiccup.
Oh, should have imagined that one.
That would be a hiccup.
The bells are out. It's a sellout. They're just pretty much planning. Everyone's planning for the following week. It's like, hey, what are you doing next week? Are we going to get the same car park? And then all of a sudden the bloody koalas just jump down from the trees. And, this is the thing. Koalas, chlamydia, Hamilton, it's a perfect storm right now, what's going on in there, because this is a team that surprised us in New Plymouth. And I think, were we commentating that one, Manaia? Was that a...
I wasn't.
It was
I think
a
it might have been you and
Lane,
yeah.
Lane, he struggled with that.
Yeah.
And because he loves to just go, Chiefs, mana, all the time. But we will be back at full strength. I feel that that's going to be okay. Yes, I think there's a good chance of the 4 Kiwi semis because the Hurricanes, they'll be the last team the Brumbies want to play.
Just on the Chiefs' mana at the moment, so Retallick, rather, and Sam Cane, they came in just at the start of that back-to-back season.
Yeah.
Is there the same groundswell around the Waikato area going into this season that there was around those?
Yeah, this is the season where we're kind of we've got the coach who can be good cop, bad cop, but also looks like the scariest motherfucker alive. Clayton McMillan seems like the coach that you don't piss around with, And then you've got all the actual bona fide stars who start test matches, because back in the day when we won the title, I think we only had 2 All Blacks and one was probably coming, Liam Messam off the bench and Tawera Kurbalo. Sonny Bill joined us for the second title run. But now there are stars throughout, Samasoni, there's all these guys. But this is the thing, I actually thought there was a good headline that I'm happy to give this to the Herald or to the ACC, which is, can Kane's crew keep koalas quiet in Kirikiriroa chlamydia quarterfinal clash?
Oh, that's beautiful. Where was that printed? Was that in...
I'm suggesting that.
Oh, you're suggesting it, right. I thought it was somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, can we suggest that?
I thought it was in NZ Rugby magazine.
Who do I send that to at the Herald? Is that Sir Murray Kirkness?
Yeah, send that straight through to Sir Murray.
Right. Or Big Show Bonnie Jansen. Matt Heath, obviously your beloved Highlanders are out, but your beloved Blues are still in.
Yeah.
Have many beloveds.
Yeah. One thing I want to say just before we go on to that with the cheese roll mana being out of there is that hopefully the selectives don't forget about Whakatava. They can't, sometimes you get into the end of the season and the team hasn't made the last few games. They've got to not forget about him for the World Cup. He's got to go. We need him. We need him.
And you know what? That's the thing. Whoever's front and centre right now, I mean, I remember Cam Roigard was amazing at the start of the season. Everyone was kind of like putting him in the bin until last weekend, and it's like, Roigard, he's got to go. Then we've got Heath going, Fakatava's got to go.
Fakatava's got to go.
Brad Webber's got to go.
Brad Webber's
Don't
got to go.
forget the flying ginger, Finley Christie's got to go. Aaron Smith's got to go.
Well,
Aaron Smith's got to go. That's not even a question.
Sure,
What are you talking about? Aaron Smith's got to go.
Mitchell Drumstick's got to go.
We've got to take the inbred son of
Steve Smith.
And Jimmy Nation.
So
they've all got to go. So we've got 5 halfbacks in the team.
Well, hang on.
We've got so many halfbacks.
But where's TJ Perenara at with his recovery?
Oh, he's got to go.
He's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to go.
So 7 halfbacks in the team. It creates havoc in the backline, but what a surprise for the French and the Irish and the South Africans. They're not expecting a backline of 7 halfbacks.
No.
Well, what about Damien McKenzie? He's got to go.
Well, he's got to go.
Yeah,
He's got to. Like when you're looking around at the Chiefs, who's got to go from the Chiefs?
Oh, Sean Stevenson's got to go.
He's got to
Stevenson's gotta
go.
go.
Scotty J. Stevenson's got to go.
And what about Amone Narawa?
Narawa's
He's got to go.
Narwhal's got to go.
Yeah.
Tamighty Williams from the
He's gotta
Crusaders
go.
got to
He's
go.
gotta
go. He's gotta go.
144 kegs.
Gotta go.
6'5". We need Tamati Williams over there. He has to go.
But also 144 kgs. Breaking the record by about 12. So I need him to go because it makes people like me feel better. He's got to go.
He's an excitement machine. Like when you're watching the Crusaders, all you care about is get it to Tamati Williams, get it to Tamati Williams. I don't care what else happens.
And just on out of a side note, Sky aren't sending Justin Marshall, so
he's got to
go.
He's got to go.
We've got to select him. Is everyone but Christchurch cheering on the Fijian Ndrua? Now they've famously beat the Crusaders over there in the boil over in Lautoka.
When that terrible thing happened to that shrubbery.
Terrible thing happened to the tree.
I think they need to put trees in the actual in the stadium at Orange Theory because this is the thing. The shaking of a tree lets everybody know it's on, right? And it's happening. And the tree will be the gauge. It's like a windsock at an aerodrome. You need the frickin' tree at a Fijian Drua game.
Yeah.
Well, I had an interesting experience this week because I was vocal on the Matt and Jerry show that I thought the Crusaders, it's boring if they win and another team should win. And I got a stiff southerly from Kieran Reid actually about that. He was like, well, if there's a better team, then beat us.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He said, what are you going to... He says to me, typical of you with your wanting handouts.
Yeah.
If there's a better team, beat them. Are you going to hate on a team for having a better organisation and winning more? What a terrible 2003 victim mentality you're running. It was a stiff southerly right up my freckle.
But it's also such a captain thing to say, you know? It's such a Samantha thing to say. Like, that's a Borat reference. Not Borat. Was it? Bruno, yeah. But that putting you in your place in the same way that in the change room, you actually got the dressing down that an All Black got, which you should be happy with that.
Yeah.
But Manaia, you're a Crusaders fan, so you need to tell us where this team stands, you know, and whether they can go all the way.
Well, this is the thing about what Kieran Reid's just said, is like, if there's a better team, then so be them, get rid of this victim mentality. Well, the difference is that the Crusaders have poached all of the talent from every other region, and that's why they're in this position.
Yeah, well, that was my
factor.
point as well. Let's not forget that Richie McCaw went to Otago Boys High School. Let's not forget about that, okay?
That's right. Though technically born on the South Canterbury side of the Waitaki River as opposed to the North Otago side.
I think that the line just has a little bubble there.
Well, he was on the Hacker Valley side, which is the Waimeti side, as opposed to the Kura side, which is on the other side. So,
really?
Right. It's a formality. But
Well, where did Isockets Reid go to high school?
South Auckland. But I mean, look, we've
And if you read his book, he was briefly at St Kitts, but he hated it, so he went back.
So the way the draw shakes out, the sketchiest one and the one that the TAB can't split is the Brumbies versus the Canes. So the Canes have to go over there to the Australian Capital Territory and try and take one off the Brumbies. That one's a little bit squirrely. I think the TAB have the Brumbies at $2, the Hurricanes are at $1.77. But to be honest, then whoever comes out of that is probably going to run into a buzzsaw with the Chiefs' mana. On the other side, the Blues are probably going to be playing the Crusaders in the semi in Christchurch. So it's going to be a tough run for the Crusaders. But I think everyone just wants the grand final to be Crusaders Chiefs. At FML Stadium.
I think after the season, it would be a freaking weird turn of events if the Chiefs aren't at least in the final.
100%. I mean,
the Chiefs' mana has been kicking ass all season. They've dropped a couple, but those those have been dropped in ways where you feel like they were strategically dropped.
Well, the
You're not going to get me to count chickens. Not now. Not this late in
Count
the
those
piece.
chickens.
I'm not going to count them.
Count that chicken.
But I tell you, some chickens I would like to count is the chickens who've come back to roost. Anton Leonard-Brown, the Nank Tank, Alex Nankerville.
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie's already been there, but I mean the guys have come back mid-season who were not around. So this is the thing: the guys have actually come back and bolstered or what was already a really nicely functioning team. That's the good news for us. And then the guys who are sort of like emerging from the chrysalis, the Cortez Ratima, players like that. He's got to go. He's got to go.
I want to put the case for my beloved Blues here. They have been shitting the bed lately, and I believe in a shit the bed before the playoffs scenario. I think shitting the bed before the playoffs is smart, and they've shit the bed. They've got a few people coming back. I think the Blues. I think obviously they're gonna smash the retards, but I think I don't count out the Blues, boys. Don't count out the Blues.
What do you mean you don't count out the Blues for what? For the whole thing?
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. Just come through a late run.
I'm going to be honest with you.
After shitting the bed, there's shitting the bed all over the shop.
I think they've got one more bed shit in them, and I think it's this weekend against the retards. I think
they tried so hard to shit the bed against Moana Pacifica. I was on top of the south stand looking down on that final scrum.
They should have lost that game.
They should have lost that game.
They were there. They were on the pot, and you were going, "Come on now, do it, squeeze it." And the thing is,
the Blues, we did everything to lose that game. We did everything we could.
The ref basically sort of took matters into his own.
This isn't
He wiped
right.
up the mess. And
This isn't right.
Yeah.
Here goes a penalty try.
I think they've rushed Bowden Barrett back. I think that gash in the back of his Achilles is a bit more dangerous than what they're letting on. They just know that their season's on the line here. They don't know. They're all at sea with what to do with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. They don't know what they're doing with a lot of their players. They don't seem like a team that are gelling, and I think that this Waratahs could be a banana peel for them this weekend. And as I said before, one more bed shit in them, and that's all you need.
They do not know what to do with Tuivasa-Sheck. They don't know what to do with him, do they? He has to be there. They don't know what's going on. That's a real problem.
Bowden's not the first man to go down with a severe gash incident. He's definitely. He was out for a while, wasn't he, for that? And people are saying, come on, just get up and play. But this is how desperate they are. I think they need all hands on deck. They can't just rely on Slippery Talia for everything. No. Because he's kind of, when they just give him the ball and he's all lubed up with KY and he just finds a way to slide on through. That's the one issue that I think the Crusaders would be worried about, is that there are about 3 or 4 players where you just go, if they actually turn up and do something and they get a bit of razzle on.
They got a couple themselves, though.
They do. Yeah, I think the Crusaders are the favourites. Yeah. That's what I'm programmed to say right now because I don't count chickens. And the other thing I want to say about Moana Pacifica, awesome that they won, but I would actually like to see a Super Tongan team. I want to see a Super Samoan team. Split them up and the crowds will come. You will get a massive turnout at what the new name of the stadium is. Go Media. Go Media Mount Smart.
Go Hard Stadium.
Go Hard Stadium. And if you have Super Tonga versus Super Samoa, oh my goodness, that'll be huge.
100%. We've got to get involved.
Let's go on.
NRL and State of Origin is in full swing. The Wars bandwagon is back on track. We absolutely humped the Dolphins. We smoked them like a bong, which is possible to do given the nature of their respiratory system.
Right.
Yeah, so because the blowhole is actually just a reverse nostril, so you could use that as a cone piece, smoke it through the mouth. Very fishy sort of smell. But that is exactly what 23,000 people did at Go Hard Media Stadium on Saturday night. It was an absolute dry humping of the Dolphins, who are the only other mammal that apparently...
You can dry hump.
You can dry hump. No, that does dry hump for pleasure.
You can wet hump.
Well, you can wet hump.
I saw a dolphin jump out of the water and try and hump a woman on a wharf on TikTok the other day.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of it. They're the only other mammal, allegedly, that has sex for pleasure. Now, I don't know how you quantify that fact. How do they know that they're doing that for pleasure?
They shove an eel up there.
They do that, don't they?
They do. I think they do. They grab an eel.
Yeah, they'll grab an eel with their flipper and shove it up there.
Yeah. Jaxie.
Like a moray.
They'll do that.
That's a moray.
So how many buys have we got remaining?
That's a moray.
Have we got 1 or 2?
Dolphin grabs an eel and it stuffs it up its ass. That's a moray.
Oh, that's a good. Get Weird Al on the phone.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling. No, they do have another bye. They've got
one
another
more bye
next weekend. So
and they've got to play the Vikings twice.
Yeah, so we're playing the Vikings this weekend. Big story there. One, we've got a debutant, and he is going to be marking Jared Croker, who's playing in his 300th game, which is, a game of much mana, but I don't know that Jared Croker really strikes fear into the heart of defenders.
Maybe it needs to be when a dolphin grabs shoves an eel and it likes the way it feels, that's amore. Because it's doing it for pleasure, right?
Yeah. No, that's nice.
There we go.
Yeah,
nice. And then we've got the Dragons next week. Smash the Dragons.
Yeah,
we've got to smash the bottom of the table losers.
Yeah, we really have to beat flat track.
You have to, like everyone says, you got to beat the good teams. You got to. With the Warriors, you got to beat the bad teams as well.
Well, we need to be flat track bullies. That's right. Because our area is hovering around the bottom of that top 8. So what we need to do is smash
Just living
everyone.
It's a Kenny Loggins danger zone situation all season.
100%. It's a Loggins jam as well at that middle. I mean, the top 8 teams are separated by something like 4 points, so it's anyone's game there. So you're right. We really need to crush these sort of teams that any sense of weakness, we need to really take them out. And that's exactly what we did on the weekend, which is what fills me with hope. State of Origin, so for Game 2, which is another couple of weeks away yet, Cleary is out.
Wait a second, I was going to talk about the Wars.
Sorry,
the Wars is just seeing that I feel like they've turned a corner. Manaia, you watch all the games, you're kind of there front and centre. Is it me or is it Shortland Street? Is it the fact that Sean Johnson is back to his old self?
I've got a question for you there. Is that as a return to form, unprecedented return to form for a veteran to come back and be better than ever from everyone in the country giving him the bird and disrespecting him,
and he'll
this season being so freaking good. Like he turned that game against the Dolphins.
Absolutely. So that's the thing. He'll never have the speed he had of 11 years ago, but the step is still there. He spots things early and just even advancing a little bit so that the defence are caught in two minds. I quite like the fact that he was the second try, he put the step on and just went for it. And he no thought of self-preservation.
No.
It was like a young Sean Johnson going, I still got it. And so that's the difference now. He's bringing back that running game.
Yeah, 100%. There's two differences I think I see in him this year. One is, so when he went to Cronulla, he became this sort of game managing league leader and try assists, all this kind of thing. He became more of like a traditional halfback. A facilitator. Then he's come back here and Andrew Webster's been like, fuck that, run it. Run it at all times.
They're great mates though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they are now. I mean, everybody seems to be loving Andrew Webster. And he's just said to him, look, don't bother kicking it. Yeah, you're leading the league in kick meters or whatever. Just run it. That's where you're the most dangerous. The second thing is, I don't know if you remember the photos from the preseason. He has showed up jacked out of his mind. He must have been on the Musashis. He's V'd up. He's got the gutters. The shoulders look like, two axe handles. He just looks shredded, and now when he's going to the line, he used to be quite light when he was, back in the 2011 when he was jinking and stepping everybody. But now he's just got a bit more weight and girth, and then he can take it straight to the line. And I think those are the two biggest keys that I see. And it is. It's a
The Dolphins couldn't handle that weight and girth.
No,
there was too much for them.
Right up the blowhole. Weight or girth?
Yeah,
or length?
that's it. Yeah, I think he gave them both.
Yeah,
one up
weight,
the blowhole,
girth, and length.
And a bit of a reach around. And then boom.
He was too much more AL for them to handle, to be honest. And when he was slipping and slithering, all you can do as a Dolphin is try and hold on to it and not let it get in your eye. And that's exactly what he's done.
And he just pretty much straight in the eye, in the face. He bukaki'd the Dolphins.
I do question calling your team the Dolphins. Miami do it as well, and they've got a beautiful Aqua uniform in the NFL, and they've got Tua, who nearly got killed last year at quarterback. But it doesn't fill my heart with fear, a dolphin.
No,
I'm not scared of a dolphin.
100%.
Maybe in water, or maybe, if they're being tortured in some kind of SeaWorld situation in a pool, they might go you.
Yeah.
But I always think, like, if you've got, you're going up and, Warriors, great name.
Also,
Panthers, Raiders.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. But
then Rabbitohs, Roosters.
But don't you want the fun names because they bring everyone back down to earth? That's why the Mooloos are the best nickname.
Yeah.
The Mooloos, even losers in the name, they're cows, right? And it's South Park cows. And that just reminds everyone you can have all your tough names, but the Mooloos are here to stay. There's a bit of tradition.
I've got to
Cowbell's
say, if we
baby.
could go back in time and not call the Blues would be a good one. The Blues is a shit the beard at half. That's just like
That's fucked.
naming people on the colour of their shirt just at the, like at the last minute. Oh, you Blues, like when you're officiating, you go penalty to black.
What are we going to call
shirts and skins?
Blues.
What are we going to call this team that wears all blue? Fuck, I don't know. Volcanoes? Nah.
Volcanoes
The Canos would have been good.
We all wanted that. I think I was in the media when they freaking
lava.
named them. And I was like, this is it. Volcanoes. Finally, we
Or
get
the
it.
Vulcans.
Yeah, the Vulcans.
Vulcans would have been bloody good.
The Vulcans, they had live long and prosper.
Yeah.
They had that
You can't catch the ball with your fingers
And
split
people,
apart in the
you
middle.
can't. Unless if they're taped up like that, which sometimes you have to, that makes you more like a lobster or
Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs. Or who's the one off
Futurama.
Zoidberg. Nobody's getting with
The
Zoidberg.
Capital Gains was another one they were looking at for the Auckland Rugby team. Capital Gains.
Oh, traffic cones as well. The cones.
The cones.
Yeah.
Shit, the cones would be good.
The cones because the volcanic
Punch the cones. The cones.
You punch cones.
You punch
volcanic
cones. And road
And road
cones.
cones. That's it.
And
That's
then
the
Canes
cones.
versus Cones derby. I mean, it's all there. All right, I think we've renamed the Blues. But yeah, onto State of Origin though.
Yes.
Game one, the Cane Toads took it out, up the Maroons. Huge outs for game two, which is still another like 2 weeks away. But Cleary's done his hammy, which is actually a godsend for most people's fantasy teams because now you can get off $1 million in salary cap. But I don't know, McConie, for you, who do they bring in? State of O.
It's the script is written for Nico Hines, isn't it? The straggly hair. He looks a bit like Wallace out of Wallace and Gromit.
Oh my God,
It's
yeah.
it's a teeth thing. It's a mouth thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's kind of hot and the surfer kid from Cronulla from the Shire, and he's shown he can run a game. Maybe he's not as clutch as Cleary in different situations. But the thing is that Cleary has still had a bit of a up and down Origin career, and they just need a guy who slots in and doesn't freak out, because otherwise you just get Darren Lockyer punishing all the way through the commentary, talking about heart and courage.
Yeah.
And he doesn't talk about actually completing sets and accuracy. It's like, you need heart and courage to win this Origin, and Queensland has shown plenty of it. So they need at least Nico.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, the reason why I like the story is his first touch in Origin was a mistake.
Yep.
Was an error. And so when they do the 30 for 30 or the big documentary,
Yeah.
I say, how bad was that, Nico? Oh, it sucked shit. But then I came back.
Yeah.
And then the story is fine.
And then they cut to him dominating game two. For me, I just think you can't have a guy in his second, because that's massive weight to put on a guy's shoulder. Second Origin game, first Origin game he played, like 10 minutes, if that. You've got to have a game manager in there. I reckon Adam Reynolds you put in there.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, I'm not against that, yeah.
And I think you bin Luai because the only reason he was in there was because Cleary was in there. And no one can actually tell how good he is or not because he plays for a Panthers team that wins back-to-back comps.
He feels like the guy on the touch team when you're winning by heaps. He's just absolutely carving, and he just and he just stays in his side of the field. Yeah, that's probably a sensible call. But what do you do? Isn't Nico already played for the Kangaroos? So he's played under pressure, hasn't he?
But so what I'm saying is you put Reynolds in at halfback, and then your
Nico.
6 is Nico.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I think that's how you.
Well, you need your goal kicker, don't you?
That's how you fill it in. Yeah, you do need your goal kicker.
It's Nico versus Adam goal kicking. It's probably what?
It's Adam.
Adam by a bit, eh?
It's Adam by a bit, and in play as well. One thing about Origin that catches me out every year is how much of a week ruiner it is. If you're listening to this and you're under 30 years old, this probably won't register with you at all. But a 12:30 a.m., a 1 a.m. finish on a Wednesday night, that will destroy your week. You're on the back foot for the rest of it, aren't you?
It ain't good for a breakfast radio host, to tell you.
You just have to guess. You come in and you sort of like, oh, how good were the Maroons last night? They were absolutely fantastic. It's like, just do that. Just put a template in. Can you do that on the Matt and Jerry show? I'll listen, and you just insert the name and just see if it works out.
I'm
dominance
I'm
in
happy
the
to hand it all over to the AI overlords right now. Let's go. Just hand it over.
Write the script and just replace Maroons or Blues. Because last week, so you watched Origin on the Wednesday night, I presume. The Thursday morning, you had your show. The Thursday night Radio Awards, where we won Best Entertainment Podcast Episodic. You then slept on a beanbag in the studio, got up, did the breakfast show. Then that night commentated Super Rugby.
Yeah, well, after leaning into the GOAT countdown on Radio Hodaki, killing the name of number 1, 17 F words and 1 MFer on air was great. And that Super Rugby tour. The second half of that, I was starting to lose a bit of steam. I was starting to chug out. And I find when I'm tired in a commentary, I just I just get angry at the ref around scrum resets and scrum penalties. And I felt really bad. I woke up the next morning after that commentary and I was like, "What? Oh, Queefy was just doing his job." And I was like, and it's just so lazy. It's so lazy to lay into the referee because I don't know the frickin' scrum rules anyway. But I'm like, I always feel wronged.
But that does sometimes happen. Manaia and I were talking about that. Sometimes you just go, "Oh, that was average" or whatever, and then you realise actually it might have been good. But
I just watched 7 scrum resets.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Killed my will to live.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I was talking about this with Jeremy, and he goes, "We don't need any more rules, but they need to do something about the scrum." I've got the shopping trolley. You know, there's in the news at the moment. The shopping trolleys are all being dumped around the city, and people are looking to countdown and stuff to actually pick up their freaking shopping trolleys when people steal them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like maybe if we put shopping trolleys under each pack.
Oh, to prop it up.
Prop them up. So like some kind of, I'm not saying an actual shopping trolley because the wheels are too dinky.
Maybe a mechanic's trolley.
Some kind of no, but that stops them collapsing. So you're still getting the push, but you're not collapsing.
Now what about all the forwards, each with a shopping trolley, running at each other, and then the ball is sort of chucked up in the air so it's going to fall on one of the trolleys. So they run towards each other, Offa versus Tamaiti. Imagine that shit just going boom! And then there's a massive demolition derby of shopping trolleys, but the ball lands in, and whoever gets the shopping trolley, they get possession.
Well, and then what? They have to and then they have to form an orderly queue, return them back to the Trundler Park, and then keep playing.
No, you got to scan their way through.
You got your halfback. You got your halfback riding in the trolley, holding the ball.
But if there's an unassigned item in the 22 area, then you have to go back and you have to get the help of a referee or a checkout assistant. Then you can proceed with your maul.
Yeah, they're going to check your ID, see whether you're old enough to buy it. It's a whole bloody.
Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it? That one.
What I'm excited about this weekend in Super Rugby, even though we're going back to that, is that every game counts. And that hasn't been the way for a while. So you can handle a scrum reset when you're really tense.
Yeah.
But in a meaningless game where the result obviously doesn't matter at all, you're like, I kill me. I don't want any more scrum resets.
That's what's so great about State of Origin whenever it rolls around in NRL every season, because it does matter. There can be, it's right in the doldrums of the NRL season where around 13 through like 18 rounds, there's a little bit of jostling for position on the table, but really a lot of these games don't matter, particularly when you're watching a post-slinger like a St. George versus the Tigers and it's just two terrible piece of shit teams just slinging poos at each other. Then all of a sudden you get State of Origin. It's mate against mate. It's state against state. It reminds me of a passage from the Game of Thrones, blah, blah, blah. And
no slinging of poo. No touching of the hair. Actually, no, you are allowed specifically touch the hair and face.
Yeah.
That's all they do.
I think, did we talk about this on the podcast last week where we were just like, they let about 15 head highs go. There are about 12 unreported HIAs.
Love it.
Doesn't that just prove that we've probably gone, the pendulum swung a little bit too far in the regular season in NRL with these rules?
Everyone just wants to play Origin to get their frustrations out, don't they? It's
100%.
like, finally, a game of league where I don't get bloody pulled up and penalised.
Yeah.
But how is it, Manaia Stewart, since you're the league guru here, that Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow is already, seems like the best player in the game, and he's kind of come through sneaking so under the radar. He's definitely the best player in Origin 1.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Why has he come under the radar? I think a couple of reasons.
He's a freak of nature.
People in the mainstream media are hesitant to say his name, so he doesn't make a lot of highlight packages. I think
they just call him the Hammer.
They call him the Hammer, and he's really settled on the Hammer. It's a real winner for Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow.
Yeah.
He came out of nowhere sort of last season with the Cowboys and was playing off the back of them, but he was kind of like a fill-in fullback. Then they shifted him to the wing. They just tried to fit him onto the park. He's got a howler in him every now and then, particularly on defence. He will have a shocker.
Okay.
And then this season he's gone to the Dolphins, who people still don't really know what to make of the Dolphins. Like, I don't know, they've kind of got a fan base, but not really. But they're a new team. But who are they? But what's their identity? They've got Wayne Bennett.
Bennett's their identity.
Wayne Bennett is their identity.
And Val Meninga.
And stuffing more eels up their own ass. But other than that, it's really hard to sort of follow his career. It's not a linear, like, he comes from Redcliffe. He did this. He, his granddad eats at the bistro end of the football field every week, or that kind of thing. So the Hammer's kind of come out of nowhere. He's got a try celebration in terms of branding. He's brilliant. He's got the slick side fade with the stripes in it.
Yeah,
he does his celebration. Reece Walsh does it with him, and when he scores tries, they're not up the guts tries. It's like from his own territory. He's stepping people. He's slicing people up.
Does he need to be put in the rundown, the broadcast rundown, along with Reece Walsh for a special undies visit before the game? Just both of them crabbing from side to side in their undies might really up his profile.
He's in the conversation. I imagine he'd be pretty rigged up. Like I said, I haven't seen him.
He would be. The thing about the hammer, Hamiso, is that straight away I usually support the Blues because every Kiwi goes to for the Maroons.
Yeah.
But now my three favourite players, because I love Selwyn Cobbo.
Yeah.
With all my heart. I love Reece Walsh. Those eyes, sexy motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then now they've got the hammer, and it's like it's making it hard to support New South Wales. I love those players.
Jump on the Morons.
Jump on. Is there a bandwagon I can get on? I can get on that.
Get on that bandwagon, Morons. And the natural spiritual home for New Zealanders is the Goldie.
Yeah.
And that's why we're on the Morons.
That's right.
It is.
I get it.
That is the natural space for the Kiwi, is to jump right on the Morons, isn't it? We don't really identify with the New South Welshman.
I've said it before. It's one trip to Movie World as a kid and you're in for life.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all it takes.
That's where yours came from.
It's just one Graham Lowe crying in a press conference. It's like, oh, Lowe, okay,
Yeah, that is another
Lowe,
one as well.
he tagged at the heartstrings.
So you got a throbbo for Cobbo? You're a big...
Massive throbbo for Cobbo. I just think that Eddie Jones needs to sign Cobbo if they want to actually save the Wallabies. It's like, get your Cobbo now.
All right. Off to the European desk now. Manchester City are going for the treble.
Coronation year. Manchester City, the kings of English football again.
Yeah, prepared remarks.
And this year, they're hoping that this will be the first of a triple crown, because Gundogan could do what even his illustrious predecessors didn't manage and take them to an FA Cup and a Champions League as well.
So that was them winning the EPL. They've then gone on to win the FA Cup. I loved the Coronation Year reference. Coronation Street, Coronation Year, Manchester.
Well, the thing about it is that these commentators are really coming off the back fence and planning some really sweet sound bites, and they're rather poetic. Meanwhile, on the stands, the fans are going, "You're shit, and you know you are. You're going home in a fucking ambulance." And so, meanwhile, it's like, "Oh, Coronation, yeah, how wonderful," and blah blah blah, and they're all just effing and blinding and going.
So Liam Gallagher said if Man City win, then he'll reach out to his brother and Oasis will get back together.
Is that right?
Oh shit!
He's gone hard. He was probably drunk when he said it, but he was like, I'll go back. I'll go back cap in hand to Noel and get the band back together if Man City win.
This raises a very interesting point for me. Can a man be held to promises that he made while he was drunk the night before?
No.
See, I don't think he can either. This is something that I struggle to get across the line with my partner, where sometimes she'll be with me in a setting where I've been overserved and she's stone cold sober, and she hears me talking to James McConie at the RSA about how we're going to go watch the Mad Dogs the next morning or something along those lines, and then she goes, "I can't believe you were saying you're going to do all this stuff," and I was like, "Look, you've got to understand."
It won't happen.
I texted Manaia that day as well, and it was I could feel Jeff replying back to me. Actually, your missus got the phone and went, "No, it's raining. We're not going." Why did you say we are not going?
Well, you don't drink to get smarter.
No.
And you don't drink to make good decisions.
No, you drink to feel like Crash Bandicoot for a couple of hours.
Yeah, and you totally look. Mad Dogs is on, and you meant it when you said it.
Oh, absolutely. But that was when I had the mask on. I was full. What have we got? Dick, 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 dick. I was smashing crates, eating apples. But then the next morning,
you're a different person, yeah.
So what about could Oasis change it to slowly walking down the hall, faster than a Harlan ball, and then just do all the lyrics relate to
where were you while we were winning gold?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
could they do it? Work. Could they rewrite that whole thing? Wonderwall is obviously you can have a free kick ball, can't you? You can have anyway.
Could you explain to me why? Because they're both they're from Manchester, the pair of them. So why is it that if Man City wins, then they were going to regroup?
Just because they're Man City fans, hard.
Okay.
Man City fans. So they hate Man United.
Yeah.
And was that if they win the EPL or if they do the triple header?
Well, it was just the champion.
Sounds like the treble, wasn't it?
The treble?
Oh, was it the treble?
Well,
I thought it was the champion.
Champions League. Yeah,
I thought
right.
it was the Champions League.
So they've never won that.
Yeah.
And this is the one.
And
this is the one.
For someone like me, who football is a bit of a blind spot, the Champions League out of the three of those, would that be the most prestigious of the hardware to win?
It is really. But the thing about winning the league is the bragging rights for that are massive. But the fact that they've tripped up in the Champions League makes it even bigger now.
Yeah.
It's just that they've been the best team in Europe for a while, or they think they are.
Yeah.
And so they need to prove it now. And they play into 7 a.m. Sunday morning, I think.
It's a brutal time schedule, though. Football fans are used to those kind of rugged sort of time schedules. Late breaking news as well. Beep to beep beep if you've just joined us. Lionel Messi has transferred to the Miami Heat and will be suiting up for Game 3 of the NBA Finals
I
tonight.
heard he's going into Miami, or whatever they're called. And the thing is, they've already got a team in the Stanley Cup Finals. They've got a team in the NBA Finals, which I just mentioned.
Yep.
And now Messi turns up. Miami is going to be the center of the sporting universe. And good on him for doing it, because pretty much there's no point him going back to Barcelona when he's not the same player. He might as well go to America, make some money, do a few sort of mazy runs, smash a few free kicks in. Everyone will jizz their pants, and they'll say they've witnessed the greatest of all time, or close to. And he's got a revenue share from Apple TV and I think the MLS as well.
So he gets a percentage of every eyeball that watches
Pretty
football
much.
from when he comes. This is David Beckham's team, is that right?
Yeah.
David Beckham's recruited him. I love these sort of swan song parts of their career that these players go on, where they're just like, I've done everything. He won the World Cup. He's been the greatest player potentially of all time. And now he's just like, I'm going to go and cash massive checks. And then, I don't know what, build up Argentina to be the greatest country on earth, or
still
just buy another yacht and bang more strippers.
But exactly, he could do that easily in Miami. But still very close to his peak. He just won the World Cup 6 months ago. So this is bloody good.
The little dancer.
I think that Miami,
Oh, my closer.
we've had this discussion, I think on this podcast before, is if you could have any athlete's life, what would it be? Or like, what team would you play for? For me, it would be playing in Miami. You just see like the I'm just going to say it, strip clubs, the nightclubs,
The RSA.
the RSAs around there, tremendous RSAs. It's all on the water. There is no state income tax in Florida, so every cent that you get paid, you get to keep that. I don't know where the government's getting their money from. I presume cocaine, but do your own research on that one. And so now Lionel Messi's going to be down there doing the damn thing with, what's his name, Matthew Tkachuk and Jimmy Butler, and just living the absolute dream.
Jimmy Butler's... Oh, sorry, go, Matt.
I was going to say blindside prop for the Stags would be my dream. Operating at a rugby park in Invercargill, that would be my dream athlete situation.
Whopper.
Does John O'Pryor play for the Stags as well? Renton in the
Renton, number 8 for the John O'Pryor for the Highlanders. Yeah, I think he's a Southland boy.
He's got a great life, because he's obviously got a breakfast radio
Hits radio show with his best mate Ben Boyce.
And then he's playing number 8 for the Highlanders. Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot, and then he's
a lot.
and then he's hunting Bugs Bunny with a gun later on.
And he's got to each week he's got to put on about 30 kegs to turn up.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that the Jimmy Butler apparently he doesn't get paid as much as some players in the NBA, but his coffee brand, Big Face Coffee, is going to turn him into a billionaire. Apparently, he started by selling $20 cups of coffee in lockdown to teammates and opponents in the NBA bubble. And then now he's got this kind of premium brand coffee where he's working on what he claims to be the first $100 cup of coffee. He's so full of shit, but I love it because he's pretty much living the American dream. It's like, it's not just about him being paid to play and go out there and perform. He's cracked the code. It's like, leverage that, come up with some brand and frickin' go for it. So I applaud him.
Why do celebrities make better drinks than anyone else?
Yeah. Well, so I saw the story that you're talking about. When they were sitting in the bubble, they were getting paid cash in an envelope, but they were all living at Disney World, and he was looking around like, what are we getting paid this cash? Like, all our food's free, our accommodation's free, you can't spend it anywhere. So he started making the cups of coffee, and he would charge players $20, knowing that eventually, because they got paid in 20s, 50s, 100s, eventually they're going to run out of 20s and have to give him 100, and he's going to turn around and say, sorry, I don't have any change. So he's now selling cups of coffee for $100.
And
Smart.
There's only one guy, I think it was Goran Dragic, who never paid for a cup of coffee because he was in on the ground floor as his main tester. The Serbian, he goes, I know coffee. Give it here, I'll tell you how good it is. And so he never paid.
That's brilliant. Actually, let's get on to the NBA. The NBA Finals are on at the moment. For those of you absolute hundies, the NHL Finals run alongside this. And this is how you can tell that webmaster Joe Jury writes the rundowns for these podcasts, because the headline for item number 4 on the agenda is NBA Finals versus NHL Finals.
It's amazing, considering the audience for NHL in New Zealand, how much the ACC content pumps out on our socials around NHL. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot,
isn't it?
Well, I actually wrote that headline because I knew it would make the agenda because Joe Jury, I went, Joe's going to put this in.
Curveball.
Yeah, which is like, the NBA versus Stanley Cup, which is better. He's like, oh, come on, you guys are all going to go for the punching freaking.
Are you guys Heat or Nuggies?
I'm Nuggies.
I'm Nuggies hard.
I'm Heat.
Are you Heat?
And I'm Heat culture. I'm Big Face Coffee. I'm all of it. I just love, like I said, I'd love to play for the Miami Heat. I'd love to live in Miami. There's a reason that Udonis Haslem at 42 years old is still on a roster is because he loves playing down there as well. He sits on the end of their bench.
I spent the 2 most wasted weeks of my life in Denver, Colorado. So, Nuggies hard,
Yeah. I've spent a bit of time in Denver as well.
It's a great town.
Went up to Boulder to the football stadium.
Colorado. How good.
Mork and Mindy were on the goalpost. Anyway,
my love of baseball started in Denver because it was a Rockies Dodgers game.
Rockies. I went to a Rockies game too.
Yeah, Rockies, great stadium.
Was that where the Luck Duck was?
No, the Luck Duck was at
LA.
Yeah, misspeciating has caused a curse for the Dodgers. That was at Dodger Stadium, but. It's something special about Denver.
So what is it then?
A mile-high city.
Well, yeah, 100%. Well, this is one of the advantages that they have, despite the fact that and this is quite misleading because they have the mile high, the altitude, it's very hard to breathe. You saw videos before game one of the finals of Charles Barkley with the oxygen mask on before, just trying to breathe. That's probably more to do with his caloric intake than his oxygen intake. But the reason that you don't realise that they've got such a home field advantages because they've got a giant sloppy white guy as their mascot and star player who has been absolutely outstanding, Jokic. It's been great to watch. I don't know how the hell the Miami Heat won the second game. My advice around gambling for this one is don't touch it either way. I wouldn't go near
great
it.
advice.
I wouldn't go near it.
Well, you can go quite high on Jokic points.
The Heat have farted in there.
The Heat have, what, you mean into the finals or into that game?
Into the finals, farted in there.
Well, they have, but this is the thing. After three, they knocked off the number one seed in the first round, then the Knicks, which was meh. Yeah. Then they smashed the Celtics in Game 7. So, you're right. They have sort of just snuck in there, but at every stage, they've upset the people that they were playing. And you're right, I don't know, part of the narrative around Game 2 was, they turned Jokic into a scorer and it made them the Nuggets lose, and they said that's actually not really true.
But I love with the American media how quickly the mainstream media narrative changes. So straight away, they're like, everybody's on board with the Nuggets, pretty much fait accompli. This is what's happening.
Yep.
It's Jokic's finals, blah, blah, blah.
Where does he stand all time?
Yeah, all time. Second, then all of a sudden, Game 2, they lose. Oh, my God, Jimmy Butler, it's all about him. What are you doing? Oh, you're going into a escape room. Cool, everything Jimmy Butler does turns to gold. We want to know more about you. Why is this Heat team so good? Blah, blah, blah. If they lose today, then it'll be like, it's a mirage. They farted in. They'll actually say they farted in. They'll quote Matt Heath. And
they farted in. They farted in.
They farted in.
And that fart just disappears in the wind.
So they'll flip-flop all the way through these fucking finals. Yeah, the fart will disappear into the beautiful Rockies
mountain breeze.
Yeah. I think it's funny because, I'm a massive baseball punisher, but they always say, the advantage with the Mile High City and the Rockies, but the Rockies always get smashed at home. It's like, how are they not finding an advantage living up there?
I'm just going to say that Nikola Jokic is so dorky that he's cool, and that's dangerous. When you've gone so dorky that you're actually now the cool person.
Well, it's like in the league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You sort of go so far, don't you?
It's a Larry Bird situation.
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah. He loves harness racing. He's into all this weird shit that no one really knows, and that's made him amazing.
He's got two brothers who are quite clearly gang affiliated. They sit on the sideline, these Serbian gangsters, and then anytime some shit goes down, they're just like being held back by as many security guards as can get in front of them.
So, and that's right, they are scary, and they actually had beef with the Miami Heat previously, I think, was it?
And they had Markieff Morris on the team, one of the Morris twins, but he's not on that
He's
team
not
anymore.
there anymore, but they pretty much threatened to take him out the back. And Anyway, the one thing I was going to say to answer the question that I posed that Joe kindly put in there is I think the Stanley Cup is a better trophy, but the NBA Finals is a whole better storyline. Yeah. It's more exciting.
On terms of a trophy. Yeah. Do you watch a bit of pond hockey, either of you? No?
No, not much. I'll watch a Game 7 if it's,
Yeah. I watched a bit the other day and, it's a good game, but, it's if you're not deeply into it, it's kind of hard to follow. You can't see the puck. You don't know what's going on. You just want a fight to happen. It doesn't happen.
To me, it's like it has all the hallmarks of what we love about rugby. It's fast-paced. There's a lot of action. There are heavy hits. It's quite violent. It's quite masculine. It's all the things that we as Kiwis love about rugby. but it's almost as if it's a sport that's played in another language, and you need a guy beside you who speaks that language, a Joe Jury of sorts, to explain what's happening to you. Because, like you said, you can't see the puck. You don't really know what's happening.
Would it kill them to put a fluoro puck on the ice? You know,
They tried. Remember a few years ago, they tried to track it with the digital thing, and it was terrible. Everyone hated it.
It was awful. So you need to know a base amount about hockey to even be able to follow it, because you need to anticipate where the puck probably is versus being able to see it.
That's exactly what it is. It's like, when a bowler comes in, you sometimes see a really good batsman, and bowler steams in and then doesn't bowl the delivery, and the guy still plays the cover drive because he knew from the angle of the hand where the ball was going to be.
Because he's a coiled spring. Yeah, so Game 3 of the NBA Finals is on this afternoon, 12:30, depending on when you're listening to this. I'd imagine it's already gone. So this last 10 minutes has all been irrelevant. But
So what I'm going to do is, I know you got lots of admin. I'm going to leave you guys to it, because I've got to go to a 12 o'clocker, and I know it's a bit of a shocker, but I'm taking my certificate, and I'm loving you and leaving you. Congratulations to everybody.
And you're going home.
Yeah, I'm going home.
Well, let's rip straight into that, admin, then. Straight up the top, you can win yourself a limited edition Toppa warmer and freezer full of lasagna toppers for your flat with the Leader NZ Toppa top-up. Matt Heath, when you were living in a flat in Dunedin, could you think of any greater prize?
Yeah, well, one of my flats in Dunedin was 10 Park Street, which was just above the 24D. Oh. And the last thing I'd do every night on the way home was get myself a lasagna topper and a loaf of bread and some marge, and take it to bed with me.
Yeah, and that was from the 2-4 down the road?
Yeah, 2-4 down. There was the next shop down.
We're bringing the 2-4 to you.
Yeah, if that 2-4D could have moved into my house, that would have been bloody gold.
So if you want to win that and set your 2-4 up at your own flat, you can text Toppa plus your region to 3236 to enter. There are 3 Toppa top-ups to be won for Super Rugby regions. Look, we've got Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch written down here, but we can jam it.
Yeah,
doesn't matter where you're from. We don't discriminate. So let us know where you're from, 3236. Every text goes in the draw to win a Leader Toppa vouchers as well. So if you don't win that grand prize, then you will win those Leader Toppa vouchers, or you could. The first winner will be announced during the rugby this Saturday.
That's you and me.
That's you and me. That's the one we are doing. So text Toppa plus your region to 3236 to enter that one. It's time now for the wide on of the week. Matt Heath, what gave you a wide on this week?
It's just the continued success of Bobby Miller, coming up from young man pitching for the Dodgers, coming up from the AAA, and he's got an ERA of 1.04.
04?
Yeah, 1.04 in 3 starts, 3 wins for the Dodgers. He's just and you see him come up, and I watched the first game he appeared, his whole family was there, and generally that first game you absolutely shit the bed. And baseball being a pitcher, when you shit the bed, there's nothing more lonely, and it's so hard to come back. And just for him to be the real deal,
the mound gets real lonely,
throwing absolute fire, 100 miles per hour. He's just his four-seam fastball is just phenomenal, and he will get smoked soon, because that's always happened. You always come down to earth, and also that first season before people really get their head around you. But it's great to watch. It's beautiful.
Is it like cricket, where players will burst onto the scene and absolutely obliterate everyone for like a season or like 6 months?
You have to keep changing your stuff up.
Yeah,
you have to have new stuff. On the off season, you're working on a new pitch.
Because you'll see this with new bowlers where they come in, and often their best figures are within like the first 3 games of their career.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, as well as if you're going through the minor leagues and you're throwing 100 miles an hour, then you can just blast it through people. But in the majors, people love 100 miles an hour. If it's in the middle of the plate, they'll smoke it.
They'll send it right back at you.
Yeah. So you've been bullying people your whole career, and then suddenly these people go, "Oh yeah, okay, let's go."
Oh yeah, I know exactly how to deal with this. Can I ask you a question, Matt Heath, around baseball? Do we need to bring the steroids back into baseball, do you think?
As a game that, who knows if they're fully gone or not, but as a game, the only real advantage in steroids in baseball is the season's so long, and it's coming back from injuries and just going day in, day and out. I mean, if you're playing 100 and, by the end of a season, you can play 182 games.
My God.
So, I don't know, is it so bad? I'd rather my players just keep steaming right through the season, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Because it doesn't make you, steroids for a pitcher, that's maybe a bit different, but steroids for if you're a outfielder and you're maybe your third baseman and you're on steroids, go for it. The at bat is so much harder than steroids is going to help you.
And so the bats, because obviously all the home run records tumbled over like a sort of 5-year window, didn't they? Where all the Barry Bonds and the Mark Maguires were going hundy with the cork bats and the testosterone dripping out of their eyeballs. What did that impact the average score? Like, what's the score in a MLB game these days? Would it be like 9 to 5?
With the Dodgers, who I primarily solved, the scores have been huge this season. They've been 8 to 7. There's been 9-7s. There's been very few sort of 1-0 games.
So juicy
and I'm not sure if
run-up.
that's across the field, but I mean, like, sort of depends the divisions. But the Dodgers just been playing the Yankees, and they were huge games. Then, like the Dodgers bullpen shat the bed. So that might have helped it, but I feel like the scores are up.
Yeah, okay. Well, I reckon juice them up and then get
juice
those
them up.
scores up to around the...
You want to see the big dingers.
Cricket scores. All we want is big dingers. White on of the week for me, I've got to be honest, it was the Waz, but now as I sit here about an hour as we're recording this away from tip-off Game 3, the NBA Finals, it's the NBA Finals for me. It's the Miami Heat winning that game. As you said, they farted in. There's so many storylines around it. I really want them to win. I want Jimmy Butler to have a championship. He's just, he's the definition of having that dog in him. He's got that dog in him.
I love the
he's an
time of day.
entrepreneur.
The finals are on at such a great time of day for me, 12:30.
Tremendous.
Such a great time of the day.
Tremendous last week when we were all desperately hungover from the New Zealand Radio Awards 2023 where we won Best Entertainment Podcast, episodic for the ACC's Agenda podcast, which you're listening to right now. We were desperately hungover on the Friday. We dragged a couch into the ACC studio, which is still right in front of me here, and that's where I'm going to be parking up straight after this and watching Game 3. So that is the wide on of the week for me. Attendance required this weekend. It's got to be the Super Rugby quarterfinals. Blues slipping over on the banana skin that is the retards, 7:30 p.m. Friday night.
Never go full retard.
Never go full retard. That one is a back-to-back, a tandem. So that one is going to be on Sky Sport 9 and iHeartradio. And then at the same time, the Warriors are going to be playing the Raiders at 8 p.m. on Sky Sport 6, thanks to 4 and 20 Pies. Me and Chris Key will be covering that one for the Warriors. And then for the Super Rugby, there will be another game, 2 games on Saturday. Chiefs Mana versus the Reds at 4:30 p.m. And then you and I will be doing the Crusaders versus the Drua at 7 p.m. on Saturday. All games live for the Super Rugby portion of the draw on Sky Sport 9 and free on iHeartradio. All thanks to Dulux.
Ooh, the playoff, the must-win games. It's exciting for Super Rugby.
Yep. So on to our TAB Good Punt. Is there a sting for the TAB Good Punt? Sweet. All right. That's okay. We'll keep going. Yeah. So now for our TAB Good Punt this week, Matt Heath. All New Zealand super teams are obviously playing. We're just talking at length about how all 4 of them are going to go through to the next round. It's going to be all 4 Kiwi semis. So we're going to put our money where our mouth is there, despite the fact that I said that the Blues are going to slip over on the retards. If we go all New Zealand super teams, plus
the Waz
to beat the Raiders over there in Canberra, that's going to pay $5.56.
Cross-code bet.
A cross-code bet.
Love that.
It's full Waitangi Day bet. It's full National Pride. It's full Tinaranga Teratanga.
How good would that be? All the New Zealand super teams and the Waz, $5.56.
Yeah, that's the most New Zealand thing ever, I think.
I'm gonna throw one at that myself.
Yep. All right. Get on board responsibly. The account is already over $1,000. It's actually about $1,200. So we're going to divvy out the $1,000. We'll leave about $200 in the tank. If I win this, or if we win this bet, that'll be another $500 into the kit here. And we'll have a few other bets across the weekend. So we could well be dishing out some more winnings on the coverage over the weekend. So make sure that you tune in. That is our TAB Good Punt for the Agenda podcast this week. Time now for
Toppa Plays of the Week. Brought to you by Leader NZ's Lasagna Toppa.
That is an unreasonably epic sting for the Toppa Plays of the week. We've got one of the all-time Gullivers this week in the Formula One. We've got Kristaps Porzingis, Tingus Pingus from the Washington Wizards in the NBA. He is 7'3" in bare feet. And we've got a photo of him sitting next to 5'3" Yuki Tsunoda, who's a Formula One driver. I don't think, not since Sam Whitelock and John Key have we seen such a brutal Gulliver.
Or Sam Whitelock and his wife. Have you ever seen those two together?
No, I haven't.
It's a massive Gulliver situation.
Yeah,
that is huge.
That
is a huge, huge difference.
I mean, you couldn't pile that bloke. This is the thing about where sports has got to in 2023, we've been playing sports for so long. It's been professional for a few decades now, and it's all boiled down to, the best human beings at any given sport. You have to be some sort of genetic freak to be any good at any sport.
Well, we were down covering the Jossie Wells Invitational, freestyle snowboarding.
Yeah.
And you have to be so small. We went to the after party, and there are some tiny human beings.
Yeah, you're just looking out over a sea of Monster Energy hats.
Tiny, brave, wasted human beings.
Because you look at Kristaps Porzingis there, 7'3". You couldn't strap him to a snowboard and send him down the mountain, could you?
He wouldn't be able to twist around and do as I can't even. I commentated that and I still don't know any of the moves.
All of his knees would break. Okay, on to the second Toppa play of the week. More great undies work from Reece Walsh turning up for his club team, the Broncos. This I thought was particularly aggressive. So you can see the picture here. It's in black and white in front of us, but I can assure you those are bright pink undies that he's wearing there. Taking photos with fans. Now, he's given his shorts presumably to someone in the crowd as a bit of a memento. But I find it particularly aggressive to be standing around in your undies like that, taking selfies with fans.
Yeah, he's after the crab walk at the State of O and those undies and this, and that's becoming a thing. They know. He's probably getting backhanders from the league to get his pants off.
It's
it's bringing something for the mums.
It's just, but I think what it is that he's Donald ducking it with the no pants, but he's still got the shirt on, and that's what I think. I think that photo would be less aggressive if he actually had his shirt off.
Yeah.
The shirt on really draws it. No man looks good with his shirt on and pants off.
He's the Marky Mark of league, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. It reminds me of when you're sitting at a cafe and a bunch of mammals walk in, middle-aged men in lycra, and they've just been for a bike ride and they walk into the cafe next to you and they're standing right next to your table and you can just feel like rubbing against the side of your ear, the moose knuckle.
And the moose knuckle and also the clip-clopping, so they've got hoofs on.
And what sluts me about it is that if they got out of a car dressed like that, it would be one of them. You'd lock them up. But for some reason, because they showed up on a bike, it's sweet.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me. All right, time now for the number one Toppa play of the week.
1-2. Skied in the air, but drifting out of play. Again, it'll be 1 and 2. Oh.
So Dad at the, I presume this is an MLB game, it's a baseball game regardless, has gone for the crowd catch. He's had to make a decision. He's holding his kid and he has decided he's going to drop the kid and catch the ball. As a baseball tragic yourself, as a father of two yourself, where do you stand on this decision?
Ooh, catching a baseball. Be pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
The problem for a lot of these Americans is they've never caught a ball with bare hands.
I know, this is incredible.
So for them, the chance of dropping it is even more considerable than the chance of dropping it in a normal crowd situation.
We grow up
They've
playing...
got no idea about the reverse cup.
No idea about any of it. We grow up playing every sport as Kiwis, every single sport. And you watch like a European try and throw something, you're like, oh my God, you've never thrown a ball before?
Yeah, baseball is always like, he's barehanded it. Like, he's barehanded it. Like, they catch in their left hand with their glove. But it's just, there's like a huge celebration of someone barehands the ball. It's like, hello, cricket.
Yeah, well, show them some slip highlights of Ricky Ponting from back in the day. They would lose their minds.
It'd be like in cricket if everyone wore one wicket-keeping glove out in the field.
That's exactly what it's like, yeah. Why don't we?
Why don't we?
Well, I suppose it's another barrier to entry. It's like when they watch rugby highlights and they can't believe that they're playing without pads or helmets. It's the same sort of thing. So
but then it turns out the CTE from a helmet is much worse because it's still your brain wobbling around in there.
Yeah, that's right. So you, Matt Heath, would you drop
the kid?
Would you drop one of your kids?
Drop the boy.
I just had a weird sense of deja vu. Probably from that time I watched you drop one of your kids. Okay, that is the top player, the Toppa play of the week, the dad going for the crowd catch at the baseball and dropping his kids. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Best Entertainment Podcast episodic. The ACC's Agenda podcast will be back with just the tip tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.